print out ours. Do you guys want a copy of ours?
I got.
You got
You
it?
sent this.
I
Yep.
was just say I left everything at home. I've got the other counties though on here.
There's the other counties there, but I just didn't print out ours. That's got ours in it. Do you want a copy of ours, John?
Yes, please.
Right on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Courthouse. Yes. Yeah, you can. Can't remember how to get there.
Was Troy Henning gonna be?
Okay.
Troy Henning.
Sitting right there.
And
Hope Robin will show up, or maybe he'll show up. Okay, it's 4 o'clock, ready to start this committee meeting. It's the meeting of the solar committee. We have 1, 2, 3 people, which is a quorum. So let's see some discussion here. Let's see, first thing I would like to bring up is, Clark County has a, what they charge, a application fee or submission charge or something like that. I think I read the Clark County ordinance. I think it's a $25,000 fee up front, which they pay up front before they even, if they're interested in applying for a solar or solar project.
Okay.
Cumberland County does not charge anything right now.
was, McDonald County, they got like a siding permit fee. I mean, like $50,000.
$50,000, okay.
It's what it's used to fund, it's set, it put in a guaranteed money market account, and it's compensate them for reimbursement in the county for documented costs that they do in processing and the permit and stuff like that. And if it exceeds that amount, they gotta pay more.
Okay,
I don't,
okay. What if it's less than that, do they pay it back?
they don't say anything.
Okay, I didn't remember. I thought one thing I read that, but I don't know which county it was. Okay, on that same county, McDonald County, what else do they charge for an application?
It's an application for a siding approval permit, which is amount of $5,000 plus another $1,000 for every megawatt over 2 megawatts, not to exceed $250,000. So they must charge.
Well, and what was Earthrise's megawatt? 150,000, 150 megawatts? Is that correct, guys? Okay, that was 100, I remember at that rate, it'd be charged another $150,000. Is that what I'm reading this? That's what I read it?
I'm thinking.
Which sounds a little steep to me, I'll tell you.
I'll say the main thing I was looking at was the 5 kilowatt to 50 kilowatt was 150 of the siding plan or permit, the fee to 200,000 per megawatt proposed nameplate capacity due upon issuance of the notices of commission. So I
2,000 per megawatt.
2,000 per megawatt.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
per megawatt. That'd be something kind of nice to look into.
Is this in McDonald County?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know because I talked to their new clerk and new chairman up there at the UCCI, and they've got a bunch up north, and they just actually passed this. I think it's in the back part. Yeah, January 15th.
Yeah.
So they had just re-upped a lot of this. So,
$2,000 per megawatt?
mhm.
Wow. Troy, hey, you got a comment?
I would just note there is 3 other counties that have something similar. But here's Shelby counties, they have 5,000 per megawatt. And then that goes up to 2 megawatts and it's 5,000 per extra. So basically up to 2, and then if it goes to 3, it's 5,000, up to 4, another 5,000. It's on the very last page of Shelby counties.
If you guys implement this, will you put in a cap of like, say, 250,000?
I mean, it's a possibility you could.
McDonald has got a cap of $250,000.
Yeah.
Somebody does. Somebody does, I don't know which one.
Yeah, not exceed 250,000.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cap, I
If
mean.
you guys are gonna charge them so much per kilowatt, are you gonna exempt the property tax that they have to pay? Because I mean, the property tax alone for the area that they're looking at doing in my area will generate Spring Point Township and the town fund roughly over $1 million in property tax. And you're trying to eliminate someone from coming in that's gonna benefit the township close to over $1 million. So that you guys wanna throw fees on them, and then they don't come in, then, you've cost the township over $1 million.
But at the same time, though, if we can get the fees, we know we're gonna have a good solar company that will come in and willing to pay the fees, so they're willing to, at least, we'll know there's assurance, and that the township's still also gonna get their money instead of they might get this and not get it. It'd be making sure we've got a trustworthy solar company coming in. So,
Clark County did not charge anything over the $125,000 fee, right? Clark County. It's a one-time fee up front, right? Of course, it says, is it the same upfront, one-time fee, $2,000 per kilowatt? For
the permit must be accompanied by a consideration fee of 5,000. Might be 5,000 upfront fee, but I'm not too sure. I think theirs is probably, if that's their upfront fee, that's probably why they've got their megawatt fee so high.
When do they pay the megawatt fee?
That I don't know.
I thought they paid it all up front. I didn't know. We're talking $150,000, 150 megawatts, right?
Okay, I mean, it says the application for a siting approval permit must be accompanied by a consideration fee in the amount of $5,000 plus 1,000 for every megawatt. Over 2 megawatts, not to exceed $250,000. So to me, that sounds like it's up front.
Up front, I would say. Mhm. Mhm. I don't know, we get some money off these people, but what will they do? Will they pass that on to the consumer for the cost of electricity, or can they do that somehow?
That would be.
Well, I think when they get these solar panels, then electric's gonna be higher than heck. If they shut these power plants down, it's gonna be 2-3 times higher than what it is.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Uh-uh.
They'll have clean electricity, but it won't be, we can't afford it, that's the trouble, that's why we're
Yeah.
hoping they don't shut down these other coal plants. We're hoping, I don't know what Trump's gonna say about it, but
I mean, if he cuts all the funding for green energy, does the one here get cut too?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, would a solar company be able to stand on their 2 feet if they don't get government funding?
I don't know. They don't know, they don't say, they haven't said whether they will or not. I don't know.
So other than the fee, the couple other things that I had saw in here, I didn't see in ours, is the all pile driving activity during the project may only occur between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. So then set that kind of an ordinance so they're not pile driving throughout the night and all that.
I'd hate to restrict them like that.
Then you get a lot of people that get mad because you're trying to sleep. They can hear it 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. I know I wouldn't want to hear that pile driving all through the night.
I see. I never thought of that.
You know, restrict oil wells then too, for drilling at certain hours, if they decide to drill through the night.
Maybe.
Well, they don't get too many oil wells drilled anymore.
Well, with Trump in, when they see more.
Well, yeah, I guess. I guess they go to the landowner that leased the ground and complain to him.
Mhm. I
Um,
see. Mhm. Okay, so any more comments on the siding fee, or we can talk about it, come back to it a little later?
Probably come back to it a little bit later because there's a couple other things that I have to touch on.
And let's discuss one other thing there. How about the little channel with that solar company offer vegetation screening to all non-participating landowners? They don't have it in our ordinance, but I think Earthrise did offer that for at the last approval. So, but I think they, well, having our ordinance, they offer that to anyone that needs, that wants
Good, yeah.
vegetative screening. Okay?
Mhm.
So if we put that in there, vegetative screening need to be offered to any non-participating.
Mhm.
Within so many feet, I don't know how close they would be for that. We may work on the details of that. Okay.
That, and then I've got, there it is, somewhere in here. It was for like setbacks off of non-participating. I think it might be in McDonough's.
Setbacks was, ours was 100 feet, right, on our county?
I think
We'd
so.
like to raise that to 150 feet, right?
Off adjoining property or off the public right of way or?
Off adjoining households, adjoining households,
Or non-designated, or non-participating property.
non-participating, yeah. It's,
So boundary lines of the non-participating property are 50 feet. If it's an occupied community building and dwelling within 150 feet. But what you should do is just setback shall be in accordance with statute and the site statute, or just site statute. What you run into and what these people that are doing, that are writing these 50-page ordinances, probably private firms who put all this in black and white, and then as soon as the statute changes, well, then you got to rehire that firm to go in and change your ordinance because it's inconsistent with the statute. Better off if this statute says you can't do anything more restrictive. And it sounds to me like you guys want to get as restrictive as possible. What you do is you just cite to the statute and say you can't do any more than the statute allows. And that way you're always as restrictive as the statute will allow you to be.
Yeah.
okay,
Stick
And
with
if
the statute. Yeah.
changes, your ordinance doesn't go out of,
okay,
Date more or less.
doesn't get it.
Yeah.
sound good?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's go with whatever the statute, so that, at this time, it would be 150 feet.
So you just say, shall be in compliance with the commercial wind energy facilities and commercial solar energy facilities statute.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
So was there a requirement for buffer planted on adjoining property or not?
Yeah, so if
It's
it's
on there too, I think.
right, so the non-participating, the non-adjoining property,
Of adjoining property?
of an adjoining property, then yes, so boundary line of a non-participating property is 50 feet. However, it's an occupied community building or dwelling of a non-participating property is 150. So essentially farm grounds 50, Todd Beard's house is 150.
Okay.
I mean, do they require like trees planted there in between that or not?
No.
No?
No.
I mean, if a dwelling that live next to it, can they request it or
Request anything.
make it so they got to?
I don't think you could.
It's the vegetative screening you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
If it's on your property, if your solar farm's on your property, you don't need a vegetable.
no, I mean, adjoining property, somebody, a house that was next to it,
Right. They have to put vegetative screening
they do have to.
in. If the landowner, if the household wants it, yes,
Okay,
right?
yeah, that's what I want.
So we got that straightened out. We think we got that set, the vegetative screening, we think, off of that. Okay, we got that straightened out, okay, all right.
Is there any kind of certain height they gotta have on that?
Yeah, it says something in there.
So what the statute says and what you should copy, so the statute, the solar statute has what you can't do, what you have to do, and what you may do. And vegetative screening is something that you may do, so that's where you want to use your discretion. Sounds like you want to make them do that. So the statute says the county may require certain vegetative screening surrounding a commercial wind energy facility or solar energy facility that may not require earthen berms or similar structures. So we can't make them fill up the berm. It sounds to me like, yeah, you can make them plant a vegetative screening, so dense bushes, trees, whatever. So if that's what you want in there, you can.
Probably a good idea to, yeah, to put that in. So then, because I'd probably, who else here for public, like,
The way you might want to do it too is put. if-
they'd probably want,
If the adjoining property requests it, because there may be some people that say, look, I'd rather look at solar panels than a bunch of bushes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But it's-
It'd be the-
Just that they at least offer to us. Like,
Yeah.
somebody that's not participating, just at least offer it if we want it, go ahead and.
Yeah, that's the way I'm saying it too. is-
Yeah.
See, and I thought our old one had it in there, but apparently it didn't get put in there. We definitely did talk about
Yeah.
I guess, could I add that, should we consider a minimum height to start out with? Because I think right now they're just talking of putting the saplings in. And that might take like 10, 15 years before you actually do the barrier.
Yeah, I would think, if a person wanted a minimum height, I think we.
To at least just start, like at least have a 3-foot tall tree starting, at least it's not gonna take 15 years to get big enough on the screen.
it. Put that in there.
I think it would.
Minimum height of 3 feet
Yeah.
starting. Okay, all right, we can add that. Okay. Got it. Okay, anything else on the vegetation screening? Is that all? Okay. Setbacks, we think are taken care of, the vegetation screening taken care of. A lot of these things here, say, we like to have the solar panels made in America and also good for putting in our landfills. If that goes together or.
Kind of like a recyclable
Recyclable.
panel, like Earthrise talked about, having recyclable panels. That'd probably be something good. So then, because normal panels, they've got components in it that are not recyclable.
Some are not recyclable. We would request that they be recyclable panels.
So you just want to make sure you're using the right language. You're a governing authority. You don't make requests. You write a statute that requires something. So,
Okay,
I mean, you can always request somebody and they can say, no,
No,
thank you. So you're not really,
that's what I meant. We're gonna
Gotcha.
require them to have, panels that are
Recyclable.
be recyclable or go to landfill, one or the other. I don't know which way you want to say that.
So it'd be if something would happen and they'd go belly up, it'd be a better chance of getting it cleaned up if they was recyclable.
It's always a better chance. It always works better for, I don't know what you do if they're not recyclable. I don't know what they do. That's their problem, but it could come back to somebody, to the landowner.
Right.
good, but the landowners enter into a contract with this.
That's true.
Just constitutionally speaking, landowners entering into this contract with somebody, and if they end up getting stuck with it, that's on the landowner. I mean, we don't, the county is not gonna be required to clean any of this up.
That's true.
If they wanna take on that liability, I don't know why the government would get involved with that. But if you do wanna do it, so what I'd say is, there's been no case law on this statute. So nobody's went to court and fought over any of this yet. And what I would tell you is, I guess as far as having them made in USA and having them recyclable, you want to put it into different provisions, because the way courts strike down provisions is they strike them down one at a time. Part of a provision is unconstitutional. You may end up losing the whole provision, but they decide, hey, look, you can't mandate them to make something in the United States of America, but you can mandate them to make them recyclable. But since your statute BA or whatever it is you put it in has both, that whole thing is freaking.
Okay, let's put two separate.
So yeah, you want to make those two requirements. I don't know that you can. It's not been
Oh, yeah.
litigated.
Go ahead, Todd.
Oh, I just have a question about the made in the USA. Of course, we want everything made in the USA. I agree with that. But are you gonna follow the same guidelines with the county? Any purchase that Cumberland County makes has to be made in America? I mean, if you're gonna enforce a company to do something, you ought to follow an example.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess just if I could answer that, and I'm not a legislator, I'm just a lawyer. But I think probably what the concern of the board really is that they're worried that the Chinese made equipment would contain toxins that American made manufacturing would not, and then more of an environmental concern than it is a patriotic concern. Could be wrong. I'll leave that to my
Better
legislator.
check your underwear.
Well, that would
See
be
where they're made at. They're right there poisoning you if that's the case.
Well, I think they're mainly made in Bangladesh and India, but again, so if it's a poisoning concern, then you're right. But if it's a patriotic concern, then it just depends on what your real concern are. Are you trying to bolster the American economy, or are you trying to put on some regulation to make sure that the equipment's safe? But if that's the case, I would suggest making sure you have something to back that up with, studies or whatever that shows that China-made panels are worse off than American-made.
Well, could we make it word that it should be made in America? And if they get building this solar panel, they don't like that idea, and they have a lot of reasons for not doing this, and they come back to us and say, well, you don't have to do it, could they fight us and overrule or rule our ordinance?
But yeah, I mean, anytime that you require something in an ordinance, they can always come back. They can always go to the court and say, Judge, this is inconsistent with the statute. They don't have the authority to make these regulations, and we want it stricken, and we want to come in and put in our Chinese panels.
So they could overrule us without one trouble.
Every time, anytime they can always, there's always an avenue for people to come in and challenge. the ordinances.
That's why I would like to put it in there, made in America, and if they overrule us, well, we tried. So, and then also the other one may be recyclable, good for landfills, and hopefully they will not overrule us on that one. That's more serious, but that's what I like. I like to put those two separate ones in there and just wait to see what happens. If we're out of line, they will overrule us, and well, then we'll get their way. Okay? Sound good, Tim? We're just trying to make some guidelines here. We don't want to be too over restrictive, but you got to make some guidelines, and be over restrictive and under restrictive. Not good.
They talk about, they're supposed to control runoff and stuff and be up to snuff on EPA. I mean, is there any toxins that come off all this galvanized and panels? Do you want them to have monitoring wells that they gotta check water every 3 or 4 years? I don't know. I just something to bring up.
I think that's covered in the statute. They have to be in compliance with EPA. We can't do anything more than what the statute does. We'll check that.
Careful what you wish for. They may be at your dairy farm.
I know.
You drill
I know.
wells for test samples everywhere you go.
Yeah,
They've been there before.
yeah, I don't know what I'm.
Todd, I told the guys at the plant, I'm not part of this solar because we dealt with a big oil company, Texaco. And, they got in your contract that they gotta fix everything up the way it was before they come in. But what they want to do and what you want is two different stories. You end up taking them to court. And I'm worried about, what's going to happen in 20, 30 years. Some of these companies go belly up and you got all these solar panels sitting out there, or if something else better comes along and these ain't as economical as they used to be, and they're sitting there and you got all that farm ground that was used for solar panels.
But that's the landowner's choice.
I know it is.
You had a
I know
choice
it.
whether-
I know it is.
You had a choice whether to drill
I
a
know.
well or not.
They won't put any on my ground, I know, but I know it's your choice. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of looking out for the county.
But you didn't answer a question on the, are you gonna have the county purchase everything in America? You didn't answer that question.
No, not really. I don't see
No,
much.
so it's all right for one, but not the other.
Well,
I mean, right there's the lawsuit.
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
No, you can review, it happens all the time. There's all kinds of statutes out there regulating things, requiring things to be made in certain areas of the world.
I know we get a little aggravated when the state mandates something for us on the county level without funding it. And, that's kind of what you guys are doing to businesses coming into Cumberland County. You're putting mandates on them and then,
What regulating agencies?
Todd, you dealt with Earthrise on your property. Are they going to use panels from America or China, or do you know?
I do not know.
You did not ask that question.
Didn't matter to me.
They stated, I think at one of their meetings, that they are now buying all their panels from America and that all solar is.
They intend to, but I'm not gonna say they're going to because
Their plan is to use US stuff. The only way they wouldn't is if
Recyclable.
they can't get it.
If they can't get it, or it's very more expensive from.
And it is recyclable.
It is.
And has no toxins in what they're currently using.
Okay.
It's a newer style. It's all electronics. They don't have those other chemicals in it.
They did tell me that. I assume I believe them. I'm sure the best one. Okay, but I would like to put it in there anyway, so it shouldn't bother them too much if it just keeps from some shady solar company come in and.
Well, I like it in there because if they belly up on my solar panels, I will recycle and sell them,
Yeah, so the more the better.
to them using electricity.
Okay.
Careful, Aaron might not like it.
Okay, so let's put that in anyway, guys, if you don't care. Or put it in anyway. Like I say, they can overrule us, or if it's bad for the county. Like I say, I think it's showing that what we would prefer, and we don't just want anything to happen, you know. So, okay, now we got that taken care of.
I guess I should qualify that. A lawsuit, technically, if they challenge a statute, would be a lawsuit, but
You can sue you for anything.
But that's different than coming after you and say, you owe us money, lawsuit.
Yeah, that was a different.
So yeah, I mean, lawsuit's kind of a broad term and it gets thrown around a lot of different ways, but yeah, you can always come in and file a suit. That can happen with anything.
Okay, all right. Okay, alrighty, let me think here. Did have proof of interconnection to the power grid before they start? Or how important is that? Can't do
I
that,
don't think you can do that.
okay.
I think you'd be too far outside the requirements of the statute. I think to do that. That's my opinion.
May I ask Troy, any comment on that, Troy?
I can't say which county it is, but I have read that in 2 other county ordinances, that they required at least just to show proof that you had a signed contract from, say, Ameren in this instance, and to also include that you can prove that you have all the easements necessary to hook up.
Okay, well,
I don't
is
think,
that really
I
that
can't
important?
remember which county exactly, but I do know that I was listening.
Is that really that important? Because they're gonna get those right away once they start, I'm sure of that, I don't know. They wouldn't start this project if they didn't have access to the power grid somewhere, would they?
Earthrise already has it.
They're already part of the grid.
Yeah.
They're already selling the grid.
I'd say typically, I think they usually get that before they even start some of this. So I mean, some of this is just at least double check to make sure they're doing it. I think some landowners are just concerned that they might come through with eminent domain if they don't have the easements in place and the connection already. I just know that's been some discussion at prior meetings.
Okay, I consider that a minor detail myself, so we'll just let that one go.
Probably.
My personal opinion. They'll get to the easements to the right way, to somehow they'll get it. I don't know, eminent domain, surely somehow they'll buy their way through it. I hope. I like to leave that one alone, take it off the suggestion, okay? Okay, let's let that one go, okay. I got one more here. I don't know, financial assurance, if they have the financial ability to start this project and finish this project, is there any need for having a clause in there like that? Usually I think when they start a project, they don't have the money starting, sure would think they would go ahead with it.
They did start, but
Well, if they don't have enough financial to start and finish the project, you wouldn't think they would start it, I don't know. Good business. Anybody comment on whether we need to look that any farther or not? Troy, you got any comment on that one?
I know that numerous counties have that included in their ordinance. It seems like it's pretty common for the most part from what I've seen. I think Shelby County's got it listed in there, the one I provided, but
Is that in their ordinance or is that in their road use agreement?
that's in their ordinance.
In their ordinance,
Yes.
road use agreement, I know they got it in there because they gotta be a lot, their bonds probably heavily. We got that in our road use agreement.
I think for the most part, that financial assurance is for the decommissioning, for the deconstruction part. Basically show that you have a surety bond or a letter of credit or something in escrow.
Well,
account.
we've got that in our decommissioning. We've got that in our decommissioning, our ordinance.
I just know that they all include it within the ordinance, is what it looks like.
Well,
Some of them do it based on like a per acre or per megawatt, but I think for the most part, they just want 100% whatever the decommissioning of the project.
Yeah. I saw that in our ordinance. I think it should be, in fact, it says in the decommissioning is the biggest worry. They don't get it started, well, that's their problem. Decommissioning, don't we're all worried about happening. Well, I don't know. I don't think it'd be a problem. Todd?
I think in our paperwork that maybe Deb's looking at, they were supposed to do a new study by an independent engineering company every 5 years to make sure they have enough bond. And I want to make sure that is in there.
I was gonna say, because I do remember seeing that, I think in Henry County as well, that they had something roughly to that.
Because like you said, Tim, 30 years from now, we have no idea what this cost is going to be. So
yeah.
I know we talked pretty thorough on that about every 5 years having an
Is that what
independent
Ben
company
Lane?
do an estimate of what it would cost to demo.
We got in our ordinance, or every 5 years they come in and they reassess the cost of decommissioning.
So-
You got a big guessing game to me, but
Okay, if you'd have them come in every 5 years and do an evaluation, and if they ain't got enough money in their account, and they're supposed to have security bond or something,
Supposed to increase
Right.
their.
they gotta increase it then to what the amount is.
I assume they have to increase it. What if they don't want to increase it? Well, I don't know what to do then.
You can call it in default, you can call on it. You can require, if they don't want to increase it, you can say that that's one of the conditions to call on it.
They're in violation of the ordinance.
Basically take the money, then you can just take the money, what they have.
They're in violation of the ordinance.
Take the bond, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that financial assurance is in our ordinance. I think it's good enough for decommission. I feel like it's good enough. I don't know what you think. Yeah, is that good enough? Go
I
ahead,
I
Troy.
would just like to add, if you do a letter of credit, to definitely make sure to include an evergreen clause within it. It basically just says that the bank that's providing the letter of credit has to notify you that that letter of credit is expiring. Because if they don't, there's no need for them to notify you. So in 5 years, if you guys forget to renew it, because if that thing expires, it's gone.
It's an evergreen clause.
An evergreen clause, basically it's a notification from the bank to the county.
Yeah, somebody got to take care of that. County board member would know what.
Oh, yeah, and especially if it's every 5 years, it's pretty easy to do that.
Okay,
So just game that out a little bit. So we put in our ordinance that the bank that's financing the decommissioning bond, is that what you're saying?
The letter of credit.
Okay, so the bank has the letter of credit. I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is our ordinance wouldn't really apply to them because they're not, it's ordinance is just about the same as a contract between two parties. What's the remedy if they don't? I mean, it almost seems like better that put it in there that the solar farm or the commercial solar energy farm, that they would have to notify us at the end of it, because the bank's just gonna say, no thanks.
Well, I mean, I've worked for a bank, and I mean, that's pretty common, to just send a notification. All it is just a letter.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy for them to do, but I know that was in, again, I couldn't print any of these off, but that was in one of the solar ordinances I've seen. And that's only in the instance if they use a letter of credit, like a surety bond, I think it's fine, but
maybe put in there that the solar energy company shall cause the bank to notify us.
yeah.
That way,
You're saying a line of credit.
It's a letter of credit, yeah. Which is basically a pledge to say, yes, we'll cover this payment for you. And they usually have to find some way to secure it, but yeah, but if they don't have that in there and it expires, you're out of it. So I mean, that's just one thing to remember.
and banks just generally just voluntarily cooperate with
Yeah,
that.
they usually don't have an issue with it. I think you also want to make sure to put that the letter of credit is into the county. They usually have to, I can't remember the exact wording, but they have to list that it's in favor of the county. Because if they put it in favor of the solar company, they could call the letter of credit and still send it just the solar company. So
Wouldn't that cleanup be actually in favor of the landowner?
which I did read, one county had it required to send to the landowner, that the landowner had an instance to go after it if the county decided they didn't. That was in their ordinance too, but I don't know, I think that was Champaign or somebody.
All right, Todd, that sounds like something you'd want in your personal contract with whoever they are, with Ryan or whatever.
Didn't get the
Yeah.
evergreen clause, but
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any other changes you would like to see right now?
Total height. I didn't see that in ours. It says no component of a solar panel has a height of more than 20 feet above ground when the solar energy system arrays are at full tilt. So if it's like on a sun tracker, it won't be no greater than 20 feet high.
Well, they could plant corn underneath them, damn taller than.
Yeah,
well, we are talking about running sheep under ours.
So again, that's something that the statute has a requirement under section 4. Solar perimeters enclosed by fencing, that's fencing, hold on. So no component of the solar panel has a height more than 20 feet above ground. So again, that may be something that you want to say, you know, the height of any solar panel shall be in compliance with the act. That way, if they change it to 25 or 15.
That would probably be the best thing there then, yeah.
So that's already in the state ordinance? Okay, so yeah, we could make it stay with the state ordinance in case it goes up or down. That work?
That'd be perfect.
You okay with that?
Mhm.
You, Tim? Good enough? Any other changes? That's all I've got for my list. We'll go back to number one here in a minute, but we finished it up.
Ryan, look at what you just said, we under this.
D. So,
Yeah, that's pretty blanket. I mean, that's what I try to put in all the ordinances is to say in that way, if there's any federal state out there, we can violate the number of our ordinances that are violating the state, and the state's just not doing anything about it. So that should cover it really.
okay, so we've discussed grade saving screening. We know what we're gonna do there, okay? We discussed setbacks, we change that just a little bit. We discussed Made in America. We discussed something recyclable for landfills, okay? We discussed interconnection to the power grid. I think we throw that out, right?
Yeah.
Financial assurance. We talked about this evergreen clause. The only thing we got to say about that, sure, financial assurance, basically. If
I
that's
guess you guys gonna include it in the ordinance.
Which one was
the evergreen clause.
No, that's only for a letter of credit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right, you don't have a financial assurance clause in the ordinance right now.
We do not have a financial assurance clause. Do we need one? Isn't it? Let's see.
We don't have a financial assurance, is that what you said?
Currently, no.
It says financial assurances shall be secured by the SCS owner and or operator for the purpose of, I should pay attention in school. Performing decommission in an amount equal to 100% of professional engineer certified estimate of the decommissioning, not including salvage value. The professional engineer shall be selected by and paid for by the SCS owner. A professional engineer shall assess, certify the estimate of decommissioning every 5 years. Yeah, I don't see exactly what you're meaning.
You're, sorry, you got it. That was it.
Oh,
Which
okay.
county is it?
That's ours.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't read that. Yeah, that's under the decommissioning.
I think that should be good enough. I think that's satisfied, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so those things right there, everything is, that's everything now. Everybody's happy with everything except for the number one, right? This, what do you call that? Siting permit of $1,000 per megawatt or something, that does add up pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's I don't know. I like the idea of charging like a $40,000 or $50,000 upfront to start it, and then I don't care what size it is. That's
I would say, you know, maybe 50,000 up front.
and call it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, this it's getting pretty steep. I mean, the solar farm will take this and they'll pay it, I guess.
Like
But
Todd
then will
said,
they pass it on to the consumer or supply it? I don't know if they can or not. I just think it's kind of we're trying, I said, we don't want solar farm real bad, but we don't want to totally run them off either.
If you charge that, then would the county be responsible for paying the outside engineering firm for the roads? You know, like now,
well, I would
we've
say-
had to pay HLR, we haven't had to pay them.
We haven't had to pay, they paid that, company paid the HVAC.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah,
I
they
would
paid
think the
that.
solar company would pay for all the engineering on the road, not.
Yeah.
They have, that's why I said, if you charged them, would that,
No, I don't.
No, that wouldn't
I-
affect anything. Just a minute,
I think it's my understanding that The solar companies don't set the price of electricity. They put it out for bids to electrical companies.
Oh.
And they're the ones that set the price.
So they'll lose, they'll just be cost of making, they'll have to eat that cost.
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, the question I'd have was, on my farm, I had what they call a community program that did not, it fell through, but they was gonna get 50 acres. So are you gonna charge every company that wants to come in and do a deal too? Because that's what it looks like you're gonna have to do there. That's what it looks like you're doing here.
If we charge 50,000 up front, everybody's charged the same
Then if
amount.
they wanted to come in and take my 50 acres, they're gonna have to pay the 50,000 up front, as well as the mega farm over here, 250,000 or 250 megawatts or whatever it is.
Then be better
Some
we
places
charge.
only wanting 30 acres.
I understand, but I just said that's my personal one.
So if we charge a small amount to come in and then charge by the kilowatt after, megawatt afterwards, then that would.
That would offset that. That's why I'm saying the 50,000 up front would be pretty stiff for a community project where they're gonna do one field.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say, I
they
would,
won't do that.
Would
for
you get
handy.
many come in and just purchase, do 30 acres or 50 acres?
They wouldn't do that, would they?
There's one over
I
here.
had a contract, I didn't have a contract, I didn't get a contract signed, I had a contract given to me, but it ended up falling through because Ameren didn't have a line strong enough to get it down to Jewett. That's the only thing that kept it from
That
going.
wouldn't take a very big line, would
But
it?
that's why they do the smaller fields, because the lines aren't big enough. And
That's,
it's cheaper to put it on a smaller line, small 50 acres, than it is to run it clear to a substation.
and once you have, like, for this instance, this 150 megawatt facility, once that easement and that line's in, it's gonna be easier for them to just plug in 40 acres here and there. as they
but
go along.
I'm clear away from the farm. I'm right here north of town.
That's not necessarily true because the place can only handle so much.
No, I was just using that as an example.
Okay.
If they wanted 40 acres, then
I
it's
think
still gonna
they're,
cost
I
the
think
same
they're capped
price,
out.
yeah.
I'm talking- I'm
I
talking
said, once
entirely
we get
different
this, I'm gonna
program.
say,
This is a community program as opposed to.
Yeah, I was just trying to use that as an example for him, sorry.
But I'm here north of town. I'm nowhere close to the facility. And that's where they're wanting to go individual acreage. Dave Shute has 40 acres over there north of Granite.
Is that really feasible, a small project like
You
that?
better believe it is. It's big bucks. They all pay $2,500 an acre.
yeah,
How
how
can
can
they
they
make
money
any
there
money?
than what we get?
How can they make money?
Because they don't have the
Infrastructure.
infrastructure that this outfit does here. They only got a cell phone and the pickup truck.
Dean Fairday set up 30 acres.
Who?
Dean Fairday,
Did he? Okay.
just south of Neoga.
Oh, he set up
They're supposed
himself?
to start, no, not
Oh.
himself,
Okay,
an individual company.
okay.
And they're
It's called a
supposed to
community
start,
project.
they're supposed to start this year.
There's two different types, and that's how I learned it, was they
Community project
it's called
compared
a
to a
community
commercial farm.
project as opposed to a farm.
So
Well,
when
But it's
our
gotta be
ordinance
close to a transmission line then, doesn't it?
Well, that's the
Along
point, that's
road.
why mine fell through,
what our ordinance
because they didn't have enough line to get it down to the substation at Jewett. And
This
Ameren
is
wouldn't.
a,
This is a commercial farm.
Commercial.
This-
or it's a solar
They said they'd
energy,
come back next year.
solar
So how
energy
big-
I see you
system.
guys charge a crazy
Yeah,
amount of
our
money
ordinance set up
for one, like the smaller
community
30
or commercial
acre
farm.
operation. when
Didn't
you
say
come in.
commercial.
But again, you're just,
Doesn't say, does it?
you're
Solar
dictating
energy
what
system.
me as a businessman for my own land that I own, I should have the right to do what I want. For one, and then if you're gonna dictate what I
It says
do,
commercial.
then are you gonna dictate what you can do on your property too? You know, I mean, maybe people don't want hog or cattle ships beside them, you know, are we gonna restrict that?
Well, they do now. I mean, we ain't supposed to haul certain times of the year.
Well, this court, this county ordinance here.
But they don't make them pay $50,000
Yeah,
for
okay.
the building barn.
All commercials already.
Yeah, yeah, you gonna build a new barn, okay, you gotta pay the county $20,000. And that's what you're doing.
Commercial means you're making it for money.
I think it's also
So there's
keeping
community
fly by
farmers,
night
still
solar
commercial.
panels coming in there, too, to make sure
It's
that,
not
hey,
residential.
if you're gonna invest this much into here, at least showing a commitment to say like, hey, I'm doing this for it's not really here for the long haul. It's not just.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
get my
that's the
federal
landowner's,
funds.
I mean, that's his.
Well, I mean, that's just the solar companies. I mean, this has nothing to do with the landowner right now, because it's just to make sure we're making these.
Is that the reason we want to do this, to make sure it's an upright company?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, if you probably didn't charge anybody anything to come in, you might get some Dick and Harry come in here and then run out of money when he's doing it and just up and leave, and I mean, I know it's on the landowner, but we're kind of trying to look out for that too.
Could you do it as a deposit and after 10, 15 years, once it's up and going and make sure that they're gonna stay, then you can give it back or at least a portion of it back.
We could do that.
Keep the interest off of it in the meantime and give them 80% of it back or whatever.
Or the county goes broke in that month.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What if we got a different board chairman?
That solar company just out like.
You gotta watch the board chairman, you know, they got a lot of money. Bad joke, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, we got a problem, let's talk about it. I don't know.
You know, we're just kind of going off these other counties too, so I don't, you know. We're new at it and.
I was gonna say, I know that the sliding scale based on the amount of megawatts it produces seems to be pretty common. Because I know Fayette, Sangamon, and Shelby, they're the only three that I looked at, but they all showed that.
They all had a sliding scale.
Sliding scale based on the amount of megawatts they produce. I know Shelby's was 5,000, go up to 2, and then 5,000 for each megawatt after that. Sangamon was 6,000 up to 2 megawatts, and then 2,000 for each megawatt after that. So I mean, it seems like some of these counties are charging that. It might just be a cost of doing business with some of these solar. They might just be used to this for the most part.
We could think we could try a sliding scale.
You know, Phil, you talked about, you know, the one you had, they was paying up to what, $2,500 an acre? You know, Todd talked about, you know, and small people wouldn't be able to afford that money. It sounded like they could afford it better than the commercial because they're
You're
paying
talking about
more.
50 acres as opposed to 1,500.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, per acre. though.
They're
You're
paying
talking
more per
a lot
acre, though.
more.
I understand, but I had two companies. One of them was 1,600, 1,650, and the other was 2,500. And they both dumped me the same week because of the same reason, because Ameren wouldn't run the line down to June. But those people are out there, and there are a lot of them out there.
Well, could we start
No.
with, let's start with $20,000 up front and then so much, $1,000 per megawatt after that, maybe that work? Or $500 per megawatt? That'd be a sliding scale, still get a small fee up front.
How big is the one you're saying over here? How big is Earthrise? The silver,
150.
150?
150 megawatt.
So I
That's
guess
the first one. The second one's gonna be bigger than that.
I did the math based on Fayette, Sangamon, and Shelby. For Shelby, it would have been about 700,000 within the fee. Based on that 5,000, Sangamon would have been 300,000. And then Fayette was about 50,000. Theirs was a lot smaller fee, but
Well, what's Coles County doing? Coles is doing it too. This is part of Coles. Yeah, what are they doing?
I didn't print theirs off. I was having a hard time printing it.
And they also have a 500 acre farm up there north of, where the,
Ashmore?
no, straight north, it's up there by the old, radio station. It's just going in now.
Oh, near Donnelly's?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
West of Donley. And it's one farm, 500 acres, one farm. And see, this new project is gonna be also spilling over in Coles County. There ought to be some sort of you ought to have something kind of similar, I think.
Which new project you
The
talking?
one coming up.
Oh, from Earthrise?
Uh-huh.
Yes, 200 megawatts.
Yeah, but some of it goes into Coles County.
Cold incoming
Yeah,
combined, yes.
it's on the county line.
Well, about 20,000 for down payment plus $500 megawatt.
Whatever they're,
I don't want $700,000 out of this company.
That's out of line.
That's
find out what Coles is doing. That would be, they give you some guidance, I think. And they already have that one in Ashmore anyhow.
Mhm.
It looks like Coles is just a flat $150,000 fee.
150 up front.
Yeah, the applicant upon submittal of an application for wind in a special use permit shall submit a certified check to the county in the amount of $150,000.
Nothing on solar?
That's what I found too.
Right there.
Nothing for solar.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Coles County does not have a solar ordinance.
I was gonna say, I couldn't
don't
find
think they have
that.
solar legit.
So then they probably just follow the state exactly.
What do you think? We'll go to collect a fee then.
Would we be limited on the use of that
I myself would be happy with just the property tax.
General fund.
The use of that fee we've used for the county to use for, just going to the general fund, I don't know.
Here it says it must go to state's attorney's budget.
I didn't really have those.
That's left, but
He got broke anyway.
I was gonna say, is Earthrise in Shelby County?
Yeah.
I mean,
The
so
power
they're,
plant.
yeah, so they're obvious, I think they're obviously used to paying that fee already,
Shelby County?
Shelby County, because there's 5,000. I'm just saying for the sliding scale, so they're used to doing
Oh.
something.
They got to sign in before this.
Yeah,
when
when did
this
that
got
come in?
passed.
That came in like 22. That was like one of the letters.
Power plant's been there for 15, 20 years.
I guess I thought they had another solar project in.
No,
Shelby.
they don't
They don't have any?
Because of that, I think. Because Shelby is really hard.
What'd you say Shelby was again, Troy?
It's 5,000 per megawatt up to, well, 5,000 up to 2 megawatts. And then it's 5,000 for each megawatt thereafter.
And you say Earthrise is staying out of Shelby County? And that might be a reason why.
But the Shelby does have quite a bit of solar in there.
They do.
I think they have another project going north of my family. Their site camps are all signed up for it, so.
Yeah.
I don't know who the project is.
That might be a community again.
It could, yeah, I don't know.
Where'd you grow up at?
Just north of Settle, northwest Settle.
Green Creek?
No.
Not quite. North of there.
I was saying Shelby County is higher than, McDonald. Or McDonald.
That's very high.
Yeah, that's a lot higher than McDonald.
I don't charge that man enough. Let's get real. What a real is.
and I would point out, you can't charge an unreasonable fee. When it's unreasonable being,
Yeah,
it can't be litigated.
You're unreasonable and mine unreasonable is two different.
That's right. Comes down to the man in the black robe definition.
Well, what did I say, right? What about $20,000 up front plus $500 per megawatt? Well, that add to on this Earthrise. 150 megawatt at $500 would be 75,000 plus 25 up front, that'd be 100,000 on that project, right? Which sounds like quite a bit, really.
Now, you're talking about the next project, is that right?
No, I'm talking about the last one we just approved last month.
You're talking about that last one?
Yeah. That's the
You can't
megawatt.
change it.
We're not gonna change it, if it built one that size. The next one would be 210,000 in Shelby and Cole, so, I mean, Cumberland and Cole.
Yes.
So I don't know what parts in Cole, Cumberland County, so
75, 80% in Cumberland.
75% of a 200,000, 210 megawatts.
I mean, and don't quote me on the numbers on
That'd
this.
be 150
So I
megawatts.
get
150 times 500 would be 75,000 plus 20, that'd be $100,000 they come up with to the county, $100,000, which is quite a bit in my opinion. Enough to suit me.
Quick question. Property tax that you were saying, go into detail on that one for me.
Well, I just know that when I really can't remember the numbers on the county level, but in Spring Point Township, ballpark, swagging it, I think the road and bridge was gonna be 780,000. And then you got your town fund, which was gonna be, considerably less, but, it was around $1 million for
Was
the
that-
two of them.
Over the 40 years.
It's either over 30 or 40, I can't remember, and I remember that discussion.
They kept flipping back.
Back and forth. But again, it also depends on your township. You know, if your township doesn't request that extra EAV, then they may not even accept it. They may not even get it. So your township or all your taxing bodies have got to be on their game, the right board meeting, pass those increases.
With detail.
Same way with the county. I mean, you guys got to be on the game on know when to and how much to increase. And of course, Bev will tell you, once she does her numbers, sometimes you get that drop down, but you got to shoot for the stars to generate all that new expansion, or you won't get it.
Would detail make a difference on this situation?
I've talked to the assessor's office numerous times on this, and she says that it doesn't.
Okay.
Has she said anything about that, Bev, lately?
No, I haven't talked to her about it. But if
She
it's
talked to
new
the state,
property,
and she's done some research on it,
And
and
probably should it be fast.
under new construction, you'll go work it in.
Will increase every year.
but then you'd have to do
So-
your truth and taxation hearing.
Like I said, it's just all your taxing bodies have got to be on their toes and know what they've got to request, or they won't get it.
When?
As soon as you talk to the assessor's office, numerous times on this, and But if they request the right numbers over 30, 40 year, I mean, you're looking at, still, I mean, even on township, whenever Spring Point Township, our levy is like $180,000. You're talking about bringing in another $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's huge for
Uh-huh.
Spring Point Township.
So they don't raise land taxes since you guys have been making so much on solar farms?
No,
That's
solar's a completely different calculation.
But they might fix your road.
Yeah,
My oil companies told me that too, and they didn't do shit when they.
well, now Harry Dater's Oil Company
Talk to
paid
your road commissioner.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Spring Point Township $50,000 to improve his road.
Yeah,
And I think it's still a pretty nice road
he's got
today.
more coal than I we had.
But, well, I told the oil company I was gonna shut them off.
Okay.
They said, oh, we can't do that.
Roy Burdine wasn't stiff enough for them.
I said, we'll pay the fiddler.
Anybody like my idea or not? Not outrageous. They've got a lot of, these solar farms got a lot of money, 'cause they donated to the horse rescue over
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say, that was $100,000 right there.
Was it?
Did they donate that much? I heard they donate some money.
I
Yeah.
thought it was right around that, if I remember
I
right.
read the book.
It wasn't that much?
I don't think so.
I think it's like.
I was thinking that it's only donating out about 5,000 to 10,000 at a time.
Yeah, it's not near one.
What?
No.
They gave the community $100,000 last year.
That wasn't
Oh.
what I was saying then.
Oh.
In
Gave
all,
some to the
they
ambulance,
donated
too.
100,000 to the
20,000.
area. not-
Okay.
They spend 20 or 50,000 every once in a while, on just donations.
So they may not donate anything if they gotta pay the county.
Well, that'd be fine.
You, that's why you don't.
We come first, okay? Anybody want to recommend this or not? Or want to think about it? I don't know. The rest of the changes, I think everybody's happy with, and I hope the county board will approve them at the next county board meeting. And here we need to get set down and hopefully they would pass it, agree to it.
I would be for 20,000 and, what'd you say on the megawatt?
$500 a megawatt, $500 per megawatt.
100,000, I wouldn't think it'd be that bad, much they're gonna be spending on a solar farm.
And it sounds like a lot of money to me, but the way they go at it, they don't bother.
100,000 ain't nothing nowadays.
If you're gonna do that, you might as well change your wind also.
I don't know what it says, even.
It doesn't have that in there.
Probably not. Oh, no. I don't know what other counties do for wind. Do you know, John?
Not really. I was gonna say, yeah, I hadn't got a chance to really look at the wind.
That we could change it. Yeah, wind might be coming
They call
too.
it siting approval.
The wind kind of died down, ain't it? I mean, we
We
would,
have siting.
How many acres they got over there at least,
That's a wording issue.
you know?
I don't know for sure.
But when you're doing the ordinances, it would be easy just to drop.
I was gonna say, most of them separate solar and wind to your ordinance.
Yeah, I'd say when I got Henry County's email, it was
It's all
solar and
separated.
then wind, yeah.
Say what now?
The way they're, so that's saying the way that these other statutes or ordinances are reading are that you have to pay whatever the fee is for a siting application permit rather than just the application fee. Siting approval
Is what
permit.
this one says.
So maybe that's what you're saying is whenever, what we're doing is when we approve it, we're giving them permit. Permission. Yeah, so I mean, it's just
So they would, I don't know
they
how-
call it a siting application.
semantics.
Siting.
Okay.
We have to go
I was trying to
with
see
that
how much
site
it would be.
plan required.
20,000, 50 acres plus 500 an acre.
Like, oh, what they put on a 50 acre.
47,500, that's 48,000.
For the application fee,
For 55 acres.
for 55 acres, that's $1,000.
And we're getting this, 600. But we're getting this for 600.
So what are we doing there? Citing application fee.
Siting application
What's
fee.
it gonna
Well,
make?
because I think the difference there would be that if you're saying it's a siting application permit, if you don't give them the permit, you wouldn't get the fee. Or if it's an application fee, even if we don't give them the permit, it's up to pay the fee.
Oh.
Makes more sense to me to do an application.
So citing application fee? What do you want it to be?
Yeah, so that way when When you put in your application, you have to pay the fee.
And we pay the fee, and if they don't go ahead with their project, we keep the money.
I was gonna say the 100, just, I don't wanna take away the donations that we can get from them to the community. 100,000 being, if it's a little too steep, then losing that. My brain's sitting in the ballpark of 75,000.
75 what now?
75,000, so the 100,000 coming
The
down.
total.
Yeah, bring it down to 75,000.
So you wanna go 20, that's $500 a megawatt, yeah, every product be different on the outside of it. This new one that come with, yeah. Okay. So what number we gonna go with?
Well, if they have to get the permit first, by the time they come in there and do all the preliminary stuff, they might not even be able to build a solar farm there. They find out there's, white snails or something, or
I don't know when they'd have to pay this. After approval, I assume, I don't know.
I would say when they bring.
So
the
they
site plan.
they would have to get the permit before they did any environmental
that's what I
stuff?
would think they would have to have a permit before they do the environmental studies, but I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys.
I don't know.
I think we already have done the environmental study.
Would they do the environmental study before they applied for a permit?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
I was gonna say,
Says you're
Don't they have to
Earthwise-
do the environmental studies before they apply for the permit to
required
make
to
sure they
have the
can
permit
apply?
before
That's why I would
you-
think.
I think that's part of the application process.
Yeah.
And that, you know what, and the way the way it's worded in the statute is a permit application. So, yeah, I think that's the way we word it, and just say a permit application fee. That's what they say can be unreasonable. Maybe that's how they're getting around it. They're saying, hey, look, not a permit application fee, it's a permit fee. But yeah, I would call it a permit application fee.
Okay, well, you want to change it.
So would that,
$10,000 down payment plus another $500 per megawatt.
Yeah,
Now we're down to about 75, 80,000.
yeah, we can do that. I just don't wanna lose the donations they give to the community, because it's still helping the community grow with donations and helping them out.
What if you still put a cap on that amount to what you find reasonable?
150,000? Cap of 150,000?
Whatever,
You guys can always do that. You can always just say, hey, look, they're asking for it at a lower fee. If they're starting company or something like that, we waive your fee. You guys can always do that.
That could work.
But, God's laughing because the next guy's gonna come in and want the same thing, but write that in your ordinance is superfluous because you can do it no matter what.
Oh,
And if you write in your ordinance, not gonna laugh anymore, even more, because everybody's gonna read it in the ordinance and ask for it, so either way, you're getting
so
the same
let's
result.
not worry about the limit of the cap, $10,000 down plus,
You can put a cap on, that's different,
oh, well,
but what they were asking for was a waiver on the amount. You can always give a waiver, but if you wanna cap it,
let's cap it at 150,000. Okay, that'd be a mighty big project. That'd be a very big project. It's gonna cap it at 110,000, 120,000, 100,000.
Yeah, 100,000 probably be about right.
Cap
Huh?
it at 100,000.
Yeah.
It should be a much bigger project than 150 megawatts at a time, I would think.
Right.
Okay, let's go $10,000 upfront plus $500 per megawatt with a $100,000 cap. That figure would be about $75,000, $80,000. And you got much bigger than that, you would cap out 100,000. Okay? Okay, Tim?
Capped at how much? 150,000?
Hey, what?
Caps at 150,000.
Capped at 150.
I thought they said 100.
they said 100.
I
Oh,
said
100, sorry, 100,
100,
my bad.
okay. That's what I thought it was.
100?
Yeah, 100.
Right. I said 100 and yeah, right now it's 100,000 cap.
Okay.
So then any solar farm comes in, it'll be, unless it's a very small one, it won't be very much, but it'll be 50 and 100,000 in upfront. That's, shouldn't be a lot of money for them people. They ought to be able to handle that. I would think.
give them a loan if they can, or
There you go.
Banks always got money, don't they?
Okay, so that's settled. Is that what we're gonna propose to the county board next county board meeting? Those changes to the ordinance.
What about the pile driving? Are we gonna do anything with that?
For the noise level. I don't think I'll get that detailed into restrictive into how to tell them to build their farm. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
They'll have noise out there for a couple months, but after that, it should be, hopefully that would be a part-time thing. We'll leave that one alone for now.
Yeah.
Let's leave that alone. Okay?
And if we get any complaints during the next build, we can meet again and maybe change it.
We might be back. See, we have a problem at this farm. They may come back in and see what we need to change. Is that in any, that, okay, that's, okay, who's gonna write this up?
One type of.
Deb, can you write it up that we think?
I'll try
And
and
have.
have Brian look at
Have Brian look at
it.
We want it legally done, legally. In legal term, you'll let it interrupt you.
Yeah, I don't have any problem making small changes, but
Very
I'm not much of a typist, so.
Very good. I didn't know if your secretary would do that or not, but that's fine. Okay, guys, any other comments? Well, I'm concerned, this is the end of the meeting, okay? I'd like to thank everybody for coming, for having a very common sense meeting. I was afraid to turn into a little disaster. Sometimes they get come carried away, but everybody used a little common sense with this and trying to get along somehow. Okay, so, meeting adjourned.